90-90 hips is a really good way to kind of do a little bit of a self-assessment to see how the hips are feeling, because we're going through internal and external rotation, but also a nice way to just challenge those two positions for both hips. So super useful. The name itself comes from the position of the leg, so that's going to give a clue in terms of what it actually looks like. So we have this front leg facing directly forward, then we have the thigh and shin at a 90-degree angle. This back leg is directly out to the side, also at a 90-degree angle. From there, we would then simply allow the hips to tilt to come forward. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my spine long, and so that the movement is just coming from the hips. I'm going to cue what's called anterior pelvic tilt to exaggerate that even more. So if I show you from the side, it would look something like this. I'll hit that 90-90 position, posture is upright, and then I'm going to tilt from the hip here to come forward. And I could just stop here, right? I could go further if I wanted to like this, but that's just spinal flexion, right? That's not exclusively hips. Now, depending on how tight you are through your hips will determine how low you're able to go. There's really no right or wrong as long as you're cueing anterior pelvic tilt and as long as you're feeling a stretch through that glute. Now, the second position you're going to hit is internal rotation. So back to the front here in this 90-90, I'm now going to push this hip back behind me, the torso will follow, and I'm trying to turn my torso towards this back leg, staying nice and upright and holding here. Depending on where you're tight will determine where you're feeling it. It might be a little bit more through here, might be the top, might be the back. There's no right or wrong. Again, it'll be very much individual, but you'll also get a good sense of, you know, what your internal rotation is like. Now, if you are super tight and say you cannot hit this position and sit nice and upright and you're more here, what I would highly recommend you do is get some yoga blocks and lay them out in a straight line like so, and then making your way to have that top leg completely supported. What that will allow you to do is have a way more upright torso. The hips will be a little bit more square, and it'll be easier to not only tip forward, but also to push back into internal rotation. So quick summary, you've got two positions you're going to hit. First is folding forward with a straight back, 10-second hold here, coming up, pushing the hip back, looking behind you, 10 seconds here. I like to hit this twice on each side before going around to the other side. And that is your 90-90 hips.